everyone, it's Maribel Blue, and welcome to my new coaching channel. I'm very excited for this topic. I think I'm always excited about everything, but it's exciting because it is about relationships, something that everybody loves to talk about. It's like their number one topic. Probably not for those who are not in a relationship or who are bitter about past relationships, or they just don't care for whatever reason that is. We all know that there are some people that choose not to hear your drama, so to speak, especially when you're going through something serious. If you are new to my channel, welcome. As you know, I do have another channel called Maribel Blue Unfiltered, and that focuses more on reality TV, The Bachelorette, which I've solely been doing. It's not like I have been neglecting the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and Atlanta, and of course, Married at First Sight. I am all caught up and well versed on all the drama that's going on. So at times I may incorporate a little bit of those relationships into topics into this channel, but this channel will mostly focus on relationships, ideal relationships, of course, tarot readings, the Book of Answers, the Daily Oracle, all of these little things to help you along your way. And of course, yes, we will be discussing business, business potentials, business prospects, how to set up your business, all of these little things incorporated into this channel. Today's topic will focus on letting go of relationships and what that means to you, and not necessarily saying, okay, you're breaking up. That will be part of the topic, but there are people who are currently in relationships that have to let go of certain aspects of that relationship in order for them to grow and or move on. So if some things do not relate or resonate with you, please don't take it personally, because I know people, well, that's not me. Okay, so it's not you. It's okay. You don't have to take everything to heart. This is all basically a guide for you to be better with yourself and be more comfortable in your skin. So let's begin. A couple of weeks ago, I was on a FaceTime conversation with a friend of mine. It was like the first time we've done FaceTime together. Like, we have kept in contact for many, many years. We've been really good friends. And it was the first time like we've seen each other face to face, which was really, really cool. And these are the people that I've kept in touch with like during the MySpace days, the early days of the internet, and we kind of like all grew up together. We're all in a different mindset than the people that were just like born into it and that's all they've known their whole entire lives. Where there are some people where we actually went outside to play. We didn't play on the internet. We didn't consider hanging out with each other was doing videos and shit like that. Here we are, and we're having this conversation about his current relationship. He's married. He's been married now for quite some time. Sadly, the relationship has come to an end, and it has been ending for quite some time. However, they both have stayed in it for whatever reasons that is. I didn't dig deep as to why, whether it was financially, whatever the case may be. Because there are times that people feel like, well, this relationship is over, and then turn around maybe a month or two later, well, it's not over, we're trying again. For whatever reason that is, you cannot be in the outside place saying to yourself, well, if you're going to end it, then just end it. Or if you're going to stay in it, then just stay in it. Some relationships are super complicated, and it's not for anyone outside of that relationship to make any type of distinction on whether or not that relationship to continue. That's not our job. In the case of everything that's going on, if somebody comes to me for guidance, then I will try and help them to the best of my ability, incorporating my own experiences. In this case, I've never been married. However, I have been in a long-term relationship many eons ago. To hear this relationship ending makes me very sad, because I know that he loves this person dearly. For whatever the situation is going on with her, because I don't know her very well, obviously there are some things going on with her that she feels the need to separate from this relationship. whether she's fallen out of love, whether she has unresolved issues or resentments for being in that relationship. I don't know. I can only speculate as to what's going on in her mind. However, I'm not in her head. So there's only so much speculating I can do. I am friends with her husband. And like I said before, we've been friends for a very long time. So we had this conversation because he was basically at a loss as to what to do with himself, what to do with his life, because he was having trouble letting go because he feels so strongly for her. And you know what? Sometimes in a case like this, what do you say to a person? Of course, you will ask questions of, well, have you tried things differently? Have you gone on more dates if you were not doing that before? Maybe you got comfortable in the flow of your life. Maybe you need to do something different, because this happens with couples. They just get so comfortable with each other. They forget they are in a relationship, and a relationship is always working. It's kind of like that escalator that's constantly going up. I've heard this time and time again in 12-step meetings where the flow of recovery is like you walking on a down escalator. You're constantly walking. And what happens when you stop walking on that down escalator? You start going down with it because you're no longer walking. You're no longer going against the flow of the escalator. Now, of course, anybody in their right mind wouldn't walk on a down escalator just to see what it is that we're talking about, unless they're doing some kind of stupid prank for TikTok. In this case, when it comes to relationships, we are always working to be better for ourselves and to be better for our partner. The minute all of that ceases, the minute you become too comfortable, the minute that the romance stops, what do you think will happen in that relationship? Will it possibly end because one person no longer wants to participate in the relationship? Chances are it could happen. It all depends. But there are some people who are in love with one another that they will go either seek counseling or seek coaching, whatever it is that will work for them so that their relationship can improve if they both want to improve in the relationship. Hence the magic word, both. It has to be both people participating, not just one. In this case, there is only one person participating in holding on this relationship. And as he was talking and I'm listening to him, the first thing that went through my mind was the breakup of my relationship and how that affected me. Because back in my 20s, early 30s, I was in one relationship after another. I never gave myself the chance to recover and be alone and see what that was like. Maybe I was alone for a little while, couple of months, but a couple of months later, here I was in another relationship. Now, of course, anybody can say, well, a couple of months is fine. You're not really rebounding. You're not doing any of these things that you're affecting the other person. Sure, you can. It depends on how you felt about your previous person. And then you jumping into another relationship so that you don't have to go through that grief process. Because after all, who loves crying and then listening to that favorite broken heart song where you're sitting there crying your eyes out? Sure, that can work and that can probably help and it's therapeutic. How long is anybody going to be doing that? Shouldn't be doing that forever. But in this situation, listening to him talking about how much he loves her, how much he hates the idea of her being with somebody else and somebody else touching her, how that makes him angry inside. And then on top of that, to experience the separation and then have to start over with somebody new. These are all feelings and situations in his head that he really shouldn't be overwhelming himself with. And I think anybody who's in this situation, yes, it is painful to have to feel all those feelings all at once, but not everything that he mentioned thereafter. It doesn't have to happen in some kind of sequence where you feel this, you feel that, then you have to do this, then you have to do that, then you're going to feel this. You will drive yourself crazy doing that. There really is no reason for that. The other thing that came to mind was in my relationship, the time that I broke up with him, there was a song that came out from No Doubt. It was in the Return of Saturn CD called Ex Girlfriend. Now, at the time that Gwen Stefani wrote this song and whoever else she wrote it with, because I don't have the credits in my memory, she was talking about her breakup with the bass player Tony Canal. Now, by then, they were already broken up. I think she had already started dating Gavin Rosdale at the time. I don't know if he had moved on. There's a part in the lyrics where she says, "And I feel so mean, I feel in between, because I'm about to give you away." And that was the first thing that went through my mind when my friend was talking about the potential, the possibility of his relationship ending and how powerful those lyrics are that applies not only to his situation, it applied to my situation, thinking about the breakup and that how you want to hold on to it, but yet you know that it's something that's no good for you, that's not healthy. And you know deep down inside, if you let it go, you're going to be a better person because of it, because you're not good to yourself now. These were all the feelings that were going through my mind. And I'm saying to myself, oh my God, he is going through the same exact thing that I went through 22 years ago. You still connect, you still feel, but you can't take away that process from somebody else. You can't take away their feelings, what they are going to go through. You can sit down and explain it. I explained my experience and I shared my experience with him, how painful it was, how I was at this cross where I didn't want to see him with another woman, and how much that will hurt me and pain me because I still had feelings for him. But yet I didn't want to be with him in a relationship because I know what that relationship entailed that I could not honor with him. I was not the person that he wanted me to be in our relationship. I couldn't honor it. Why? Because it was not me. And that's what it comes down to. We cannot change ourselves to make somebody else happy and be in that relationship, because then we're being selfish in some sort of way. Okay, think about it. You're being selfish and you're being deceptive because you're not bringing your true, authentic self into this relationship. On the other side of things, we will seek advice from other people. Well, what would you do if you were in my situation? This is all well and good. There's nothing wrong with asking somebody for advice or feedback on what would you do. But keep in mind that everybody is different and they will handle a similar situation a different way. I could handle it probably now, thinking about his situation now and thinking about myself now. I have learned a lot. In the case of if I was having this similar experience, as hard as it would be for me to break it off because that person wasn't feeling a certain type of way, I would have to go through my grief process. It would be worse off if I stayed in it and continued to lie to myself that things were going to change, that it was going to get better, that they're going to wake up and smell the coffee and figure it out. No, no. And then in the meantime, you're not living your life because you're sitting around waiting. And how is that fair to you? Ask yourself if you're being fair to yourself by waiting around. No. And these were the things that we talked about in the conversation that we had. At some point, he's going to have to come to the realization that if this is the finale of the relationship, he will have to go through the grieving process, whether he likes it or not. And I saw the changes, the look in his eyes. I saw how he was emotionally upset, although he didn't cry in front of me. I just got the vibe, when you're talking to people and you just see that look on their face. And I felt terrible. I'm the kind of person that I'm not going to lie to you so that you can feel better, so that you have this false hope. It's very sad when you make that type of a commitment in marriage and for some reason the marriage doesn't work out. The other person changes, they feel different, they feel perhaps it was too soon, too haste of a decision to get married because now they feel like they want to live this other life. They want to explore, they want to date, they want to be with other people. And while this person may not be feeling this way, the fact of the matter is that if and when the relationship ends, if this is what's going to happen, okay, I'm not going to say yes, it is going to happen or no, it isn't. I don't know because people change. They change their minds for whatever reason that is. But let's say, for example, the relationship does end. There isn't a priority list of now I have to go out and date. Now I'm going to get hurt. Now I'm going to experience people who are liars and whatever. No, that's not necessarily the case. There are people who have broken up out of relationships and maybe months later or a few years later, they'll meet somebody else. And that person is the most fantastic person they've ever met in their entire lives. And they find somebody they can live their happily ever after with. Sadly, that has not happened for me yet. But in my situation, I have to say that after my breakup, I concentrated more on myself because that's what I needed to do in order for me to be the person that I am today. Sure, are there some things that I don't like about myself that could be fixable? Absolutely. In my last video, I talked a little bit about my weight and how uncomfortable I am with it. The thing is, it's like my weight just lives in the middle. And it's not very pleasant because there are things there that I wear that I can't really hide unless I do lipo or something like that, or maybe go downstairs to my treadmill and be consistent in working out. So it's not like there's no choice. There are choices of what I can do to slim down so that I can feel better about myself and a little bit more confident. That's not to say that I lack confidence. It's just, gee, how did you get here again? When you lost all this weight and then you went and put it back on. But life happens, shit happens. I also want to talk about another situation with another friend of mine. She met a guy a few years ago and they met under a work circumstance. In the beginning, it was basically a friendship. They laughed, they talked a lot, and then they found that they started to have a lot more in common. And one of the things that the guy would say all the time of how he was looking for the one, where is that one person that he wants to be in love with and build a relationship with? Now, let's think about the law of attraction in this situation. The law of attraction says if you ask for something, if you want something bad enough, you kind of harness it. You're putting it out to the universe and you're saying, I want to find this beautiful person. I want to fall in love. I want to build a life with them. I just want to be happy. And then that person comes along. And in the beginning, you may not see it. It may not be apparent in that moment because both of you are having an experience. You're enjoying the moment. And this is what was going on with my friend. She was enjoying these moments with this guy. All of a sudden, one day it dawned on her, like she couldn't stop thinking about him. She was looking forward to seeing him every day. It had been a long time that she had felt that way about somebody, but she wasn't sure if he felt the same way about her. And she would do little things to kind of gauge to see if he was interested, to see if he would flirt back, if you will. Long story short, the job with her ends. She had to find another job. It ended so terribly, she wasn't sure if she was going to be friends with this guy again because something had happened between them. Not a physical thing, just a misunderstanding or disagreement, whatever it is that you want to call it. And a few months later, they both have dinner in this dinner, she expresses to the guy, she understands that things had happened and she meant no disrespect, but that if he thought she felt a certain way about him, she just wanted to assure him that she didn't. Okay. She basically told him a lie. She was feeling more than what she was saying to him, but she also felt that in the situation, in what she felt was transpiring, that he was not prepared to make a real commitment. She sensed a lack of, I guess, for lack of a better word, maturity on his part. Perhaps he was just saying a lot of things, but perhaps he wasn't ready for that. Perhaps. So 2 years goes by. They're entertaining each other. They keep in touch, but it's very sporadic in that situation. And then she decided, you know what? I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm just going to let this whole thing go. This idea of being in a relationship with this guy, hopefully the dreams will stop, because she was even having dreams about him. Like, she would tell me about these intense sexual dreams that she was having about him. And she just decided, I don't think anything is going to happen here. I'm just going to let the whole thing go. I said to her, okay. Once she let it go and she wasn't thinking about it and she wasn't consumed with the idea of being in a relationship with him, he suddenly popped back. No, I'm sorry. No, this long-winded thing. It was kind of like a door that just opened a little bit just to see if she will respond. And in that situation, as she was sharing with me, I saw the look on her face, how she fell in love all over again. She was in love with this man, and she couldn't even bring herself to terms that she herself was falling in love. Whether he felt the same way or not would remain to be seen. Fast forward now, they reconnect. Now, this time the reconnection is different. It becomes physical. In her mind, as she was sharing with me, she was thinking, well, I'm just going to react on a physical level. I'm not going to think ahead. I'm not going to try and think that something will happen between us. But I know my friend very well. And I know that she was thinking in her head, well, maybe something will happen. I believe that it did, according to what she had shared with me, things that he had said. He had used the L word in a conversation, but she wasn't sure, was he saying it out of friendliness? Like, how like you tell your friends, okay, love you. And it wasn't like that. It was like, I love you. She didn't feel like there was a feeling behind it. And then, it was said again, and this time there was feeling behind it. Now, in this situation, it's different because there are two people who are involved. And the one person, which is this particular woman, isn't sure where this is going. It seemed that at some point, the relationship was flowing and taking a natural course in the way relationships should, as they grow and both of you get closer with one another and start sharing more intimate details and want to be with each other. And this seems what was going on. But at some point, that channel broke off and she wasn't sure why that happened. And she didn't get a real explanation as to why it happened, other than a disturbing conversation she said she had with him, where all of a sudden he just started singing a different song. Well, I'm not sure. I'm not in a relationship, he exclaimed. I think we need to figure out what we want. She was like, where did all of this come from? Where did this behavior come from? Where are all these words coming from? Because if one person knows exactly what it is that they want, but they're not saying it because they're kind of waiting where this other person is, you don't want to push anybody. But certainly you don't want to have this disturbing conversation where 1 minute the person is kikiing with you and they're developing a form of intimacy, and then all of a sudden they just went sideways. Sometimes I don't know what to make of those situations. Like, I wouldn't know what to say other than just wait and see. Wait and see where it goes. But the thing is like, how long are you going to wait and see? You still have to keep living. And this is the part where I talk about letting go of relationships. When I say letting go of relationships, I'm saying let go of any conformed ideas you've already set in your mind of how things are supposed to go. Things are going to happen regardless, whether you like it or not, whether it happens with or without your permission. And sometimes those things will be painful. It really is a matter of how are we going to deal with it. The other aspect is, and the things that I talked about before, there are times that people will seek advice. They'll seek advice with friends and family members. Well, what would you do in this situation? And like I said before, everybody is an individual. Not everyone will take a situation and handle it like you would. They would probably be different in how they will handle the situation. The other side to that is, let's say you are in a relationship with someone and you're talking to your friend about that relationship. Maybe you have concerns. Maybe you are afraid and you're afraid of how you're going to approach this person with your concerns. That friend may not like the idea that you're in a relationship and then offer their own analysis. Well, why are you in a relationship? Like, why are you even bothering with this? There are some miserable people out there, I will tell you, they will plant things in your head that isn't real because they are unhappy. So these are the things that we have to take under consideration as to why are they telling me this and where are they in their lives that they're sharing these things with me. The most important thing, we have to practice patience. This is also another part of letting go. When we are involved with somebody, if we try to project, if we try to control or expect certain things to happen, we should not do that to anybody. It's just unrealistic because now you're doing what was being done to me before I broke up with my ex, is that I can't be the person that you want me to be. I am not going to be that person. I am not going to be a figure of what it is that you want. That's not right for anybody. So keep in mind that if you are in a relationship with somebody and you want them to be a certain way because that's what you're used to, perhaps you should not be in a relationship right now and you need to concentrate on yourself. The idea of love is to appreciate your partner in everything that they possess. Why did you fall in love with them in the first place? Ask yourself that and then grow upon that, because the more both of you share, the more the both of you open up, the better the relationship will be. Granted, we're not going to like everything. At the end of the day, the bigger picture is, why did you fall in love in the first place? The most important thing that I say all the time, don't take past relationships. Don't take that garbage and incorporate it into your current relationship. That will destroy your current relationship immediately. And if you're doing it on purpose, to get rid of the person that you're with for whatever it is that you're feeling, that's also not a good thing. You should always be honest and upfront. If you feel a relationship is not working out for whatever reason, you need to sit down and have a conversation with that person and be honest. Don't worry about how they're going to react, because at the end of the day, if that person has very strong feelings for you, you can't stop the hurt. You can't stop the pain. You also can't stop a person from feeling like, if you're in love with that person and that person can't see how beautiful they are because they're too busy into their own feelings, their own insecurities. And like I said in my last video, you can't take that piece of yourself and say, here, and put it in their head or their heart space and say, can't you see how beautiful you are? Can't you see how much I'm in love with you? Why can't you see that? They have to see it for themselves. So there are many aspects of letting go in a relationship, letting go of how relationships should work, letting go of conformed ideas of what you think a relationship should be. These are all super important in order for you to have a successful relationship. And that goes for anyone. So we have reached the end of this video, and I'd like to end with the book of answers, which is right behind me. Let's see what the universe will have to answer for your questions. So let's just be quiet with ourselves for a few seconds. Think about what it is that you are seeking for in any situation that you're going through within your relationship. So here we have the book of answers, and let's see what the book of answers will have to offer us. And let's open up the page here, see what the answer is. Adopt an adventurous attitude. Ah, here we are. Adopt an adventurous attitude. Well, the book of answers never fails us. And you have to remember, no matter what it is that you feel inside, it's just a feeling. Let it go, let it pass. Know that you are a good person inside. Know that you are deserving of love. Know that people love you and accept you for who you are. Know that. Don't question it. Don't fight it. And don't be mean about it, because there is a reason why people love you. And even if you don't feel that way about them, have the respect and be grateful that they love you regardless. So, with all that being said, this is Maribel Blues signing off. I hope this message helps you along with your journey when it comes to relationships. And always remember, be good to yourself, be good to each other, and most importantly, take care of you. Bye, everybody.